And today we start from the northern region, where doctors at Tamale Teaching Hospital have suspended services, emergency and outpatient services. The group is protesting the dismissal of its CEO by Health Minister Akando. The doctors say they have suspended all emergency and outpatient services, and here's what their statement says. And also, following our earlier press release today, the doctors, that was yesterday, they released a statement, and following that, the Doctors Association of the Tamale Teaching Hospital held an emergency General Assembly meeting at midday. The outcome of that meeting says that with immediate effect, all members of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, or doctors at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, have proceeded on an indefinite suspension of all emergency and outpatient services, antenatal clinic, specialist clinic, pediatrics. Inpatient care shall continue for our clients currently on admission until they are safely discharged from the hospital. And they're also making some demands. One, unqualified apologies from the Minister of Health, Honorable Akando, and the Member of Parliament for Tamale North constituency, Honorable Alhassan Saibu Suhini, should be rendered to Dr. Valentine Akulpa, all doctors of the Tamale Teaching Hospital and staff of the Accident and Emergency Department. Also, they shall resume provision of emergency and outpatient services after they receive appropriate apologies. Also, they're asking the management of the hospital to ensure that the following are available in the short term to work effectively: A, constant flow of water through the taps for clinical work, stable electricity supply in the hospital, constant supply of oxygen, provision of consumable items such as gloves, gauze, cotton face masks, cannulas, sutures, strings or syringes, disinfectants, glucometer strips, plasters, etc. Also, they're asking for constant supply of, other variables or essentials that they need in the hospital. They're also asking for 100 continuous vital signs monitoring devices for all high dependency units in the hospital, 4 ventilators at the Accident and Emergency Department, 4 ventilators at the intensive care unit, 2 ventilators at the neonatal intensive care unit, 2 ventilators at the maternal intensive care unit, as well as 2 transport ventilators, 2 transport incubators at the obstetrics and gynecology department. And also they're looking for service and repair the 1,000-liter autoclave machine at the CSSD. That in the medium term, the following must also be provided to facilitate their work: an MRI scan machine that does not use helium, a CT scan machine that does not use, that has an infusion pump, a mammograph machine, a fluoroscopy machine. They're also wanting a CR machine at the main theater, ABG machines in all intensive care units of the hospital, and 1 at the Accident and Emergency Department, 2 mobile X-ray machines. And then they're saying that the doctors will continue to engage with management to ensure that the aforementioned points are available for health delivery, and advising themselves that if there's a failure to achieve the above within the shortest possible time, and that should any of their members feel threatened at any point in the provision of their services within the hospital, they shall immediately remove themselves from such hostile environment for their own safety. And they're also asking all media houses that released false or biased reportage of the incident at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, an emergency during the health minister's visit, should render apologies to them on their platforms, and that the doctors shall also not engage those media houses until those apologies are rendered. Let's take you now to the hospital where Martina Bugri is on the ground and joins me via telephone lines. Martina, what is the current state at the hospital?
Now, what we can describe is tension. It's so tense. I mean, we are told that they are in a crunch meeting as we speak now to try to fashion out something to work with whilst they deal with the issues as have been put on the table by the doctors. Now, when you come to the OPD and that area where patients normally will receive aid before they are moved to various departments, we have so many people who have come from far and near. They pick their cards, their vitals are taken, and they are asked to sit and wait. And when you go to that area, we have a lot of people who are there. Someone said he came all the way from Nkwanta, and he's unable to see any doctor as we speak. People are a bit frustrated. Those who can or know of other facilities are beginning to move to other facilities, but those who do not know where to go are still hoping that the doctors would at least come in, because most people who I spoke to at the place said they didn't even know that the doctors had declared a strike action.
So on your screen now, we see quite a number of people seated, waiting. What's that place? Is that the OPD or is outside the hospital?
So the OPD is the ground floor where you normally go to and pick your cards, and then there's a designated area you go for your vitals to be taken, and then you are referred to the consultant. So the crowd you see are seated in front of the consulting room. So they line up there, and then they give them numbers according to the consulting rooms they are supposed to go into. But when you go into these consulting rooms now, you probably will find a nurse who is seated, but there is no doctor in any of these consulting rooms.
So no doctor showed up to the hospital today. They're just nurses working in the hospital. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So what the nurses are also basically doing is just taking your vitals and waiting for the doctors because they cannot prescribe.
And so now that the patients are aware that the doctors didn't show up, are they still waiting? Or there'll be some form of, service rendered to them whilst they wait for the doctor, aside taking their vitals?
The nurses do not tell the patients that the doctors are on strike. They just take care of them at the first point and then direct them to go and find a place and sit. And that is what they have done. So when you speak to patient after patient, they tell you that, oh, they are just waiting for the doctor. You ask, are you aware that the doctors are on strike? They said, no. What did the nurses tell you? They said, we should wait at this point for the doctor. That's what they tell you.
Well, we understand that the CEO has been, sacked, but has the new CEO been asked to resume work at the facility?
So when I inquired, I'm told that he's not come in yet, but the management team is the one that will be engaging with the doctors as well as the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health, which will be coming in later in the day.
Are we hearing anything from either the MCE or other, stakeholders in the hospital, react to what's happening currently over there?
So we have tried to get the minister, but I've tried a couple of times. I've not been able to get through to him. But we are hoping that we'll be able to speak to other stakeholders to find out what they would do or their support they are going to give in to the management to help resolve this issue that has just started and looks like it's going to be a long one if something is not done.
So the patients are still there or they're leaving as we speak?
Most of them are still there, but we have also had some who now know that there's a strike action, have moved out of the hospital and they are heading to other hospitals in the area. Now, for the TPA, even though it's a referral, we have people come with every illness. And so they've made it like it's more or less the most points that people would come in first. before. If they are not treatment, they can look at the other hospitals, probably because they believe that all the specialists are in this particular facility.
Well, Martina, I know that the emergency services have been suspended. However, if there is an emergency, what then happens? Do they send the person away, or maybe the MCO or somebody is trying to intervene in what's happening now at the hospital?
So my information is that they are trying to lobby them to get them to understand that at least there should be some exemptions. So we are here to get that out. If it goes to, they are able to get them to pick out funds, then we'll be able to say, yes, indeed, they have agreed to some modalities. But as we speak now, that hasn't been done yet.
So, Martina, I want to know from you, so currently we know that members of the Committee on Health are visiting health facilities. Are they currently in Tamale?
Yes, they are in Tamale. In the next 30 minutes, we are told they are arriving at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. They are also expected to go to the Tamale Regional Hospital, which is referred to as the Tamale Central Hospital. These are the two hospitals I am aware they are visiting, but if there are any other, maybe we would get to know that in due course. But for now, these are the two health facilities I am aware they are visiting.
All right. Thank you so much, Martina Bugri, giving us an update of the events happening at the Tamale Teaching Hospital after the sack of the CEO and suspension of emergency and outpatients, services there, as well as the doctors not showing up to work this morning. We'll definitely keep an eye on that one. But to other stories, Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa has outlined a 5-point plan to transform Ghana's passport application regime. He says Ghana's passport will be switched to a chip-embedded one. This is the first step to broad reforms targeted at improving service delivery. There's more in the following report.
To improve service delivery for passport applicants while safeguarding the integrity of Ghana's travel document, Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa says his outfit is ready to roll out a chip-embedded passport regime.
This modernization effort is designed to enhance broader security, reduce identity fraud, and streamline international travel for Ghanaians. As we roll out our cutting-edge chip-embedded passport, we seize this opportunity to categorically state that the era of middlemen and unofficial agents operating within our passport offices is unequivocally over. We strongly advise all citizens to directly interact with our official channels and adhere to established procedures when applying for or renewing their passports.
The modernization plan comes amidst growing concerns about the activities of middlemen and other challenges that have crippled attempts at making passport service delivery seamless in Ghana. But the minister says that will no longer be the case.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the avoidance of doubt, our resetting Ghana passport reforms can be itemized as follows. And I'm doing the summary for the media. There are 5 reforms that we are rolling out on the 28th of April, 2025, which is Monday, the Monday ahead of us. And these are the 5 reforms. 1, we are switching from biometric to chip-embedded passports. 2, we are introducing 24-hour passport operations in line with President Mohammed's 24-hour economy policy. 3, we are introducing passport delivery services through courier to enhance convenience. 4, we are introducing e-tracking services for citizens to effectively monitor the entire passport application and delivery process. And 5, we are reducing passport application fees by 30% that is from 500 Ghana cedis to 350 Ghana cedis, by amending the Fees and Charges Act as soon as Parliament resumes from recess.
The 5-point plan on reforming Ghana's passport regime is expected to take off on April 28 as stakeholders remain hopeful that will bring about the necessary change in Ghana's passport application system. Blair Sogan's report for Joy News, Accra.
Well, frustration is erupting into fury at Techiman's main lorry station, where drivers and traders are opposing the collection of daily tolls by city authorities over neglect of sanitation services for nearly 6 months. Now, with health risks soaring and profit rotting, these workers are issuing a stuck 2-week ultimatum to authorities to clean up the crisis of face protests and a total toll boycott. Anas Abit has more on the following report.
Behind the chaos of this vital transport hub lies a crisis festering for months. This is the Techiman main lorry station, a lifeline for commerce in the Bono East regional capital. The traders and drivers here say they are being suffocated not just by the heat, but by neglect.
The whole station is full of filth. Those responsible for the soup here, they don't see any exercise
Now he did not come here to sweep again. He always comes with noise and then put people to sweep here for us. It is boring. For nearly 6 months, sanitation services here have grounded to a halt. No waste collection, and yet daily tolls are being collected by city authorities. Money is meant to fund the very services these workers say they are being denied.
They have not swept here for 5 months now. We sweep here ourselves, yet we pay taxes to the assembly.
This gentleman here is a driver and has taken it upon himself to sweep almost daily to ensure that the station he referred to as his office is kept tidy.
As a driver, you can't come and sit in the field, although it is the assembly's responsibility to sweep. But until they do it, I will continue to sweep.
The situation, according to these traders, exposes them to several health risks: cholera, malaria, and many more. It brings the loss of problems such as sicknesses, cholera, malaria, and
it causes sicknesses. Passengers persistent complain about the filth here worry
how do you bet him the Brabra Sansa Bola no one say
insects such as houseflies. These houseflies causes many diseases. We are pleading with the authorities to come to our aid. The anger here is palpable. Traders say their profits are sinking with the sanitation, and drivers accuse the city of taxation without sanitation. And now they are threatening drastic action.
These are the numbers to the taxes I have paid. 2 cities each is not a small money, yet we don't see any improvements. We complain to the city gas, but it told us to go and report to the municipal assembly.
They should let us know if they won't come and sweep here so that we can also stop paying the taxes. These drivers here have issued a 2-week ultimatum: fix this mess or face mass protests and a toll boycott.
We have resolved not to pay taxes to the assembly for the next 2 weeks. We will demonstrate against them. We won't pay taxes here again. We are giving them 2 weeks to resolve it, or we will face them squarely.
This isn't just a fight over trash. It is a battle for dignity. A community fed up with broken promises, now ready to weaponize
their economic power.
I have gone to the assembly to report the situation. They kept forcing me
But the big question remains, will those in authority listen? And for the rest of you watching this, what would you do if your workplace looked like this despite paying tolls daily? Reporting for Joy News, Anna Sabit, Teachman.
Well, let's get updates from Anas Sabit in the Bono East region. Anas, has there been any intervention from any authority in the situation there?
Not really, and there seems to be no headway as I speak to you now. I have made quite some inquiries from those in authority. I've spoken to the National Metropolitan Assembly. The situation seems bigger than I anticipated before I reached there. There are issues with, sweepers who are engaged with the Zoomlion Ghana, who have said that they have not been paid for over a year. And hence the reason why they stopped going to the various, locations, including the main lorry station to sweep. So it doesn't look like that situation will be addressed today or tomorrow. And to make matters worse, the Assembly is having a huge problem with regards to its, temporary dumping sites where, trucks that carry this trash take them to. I'm told, I've been able to go there to see the situation of myself. The place is full. And so as I speak to you now, for over a week, sanitation trucks in Techiman have abandoned the various trucks that are currently, placed at the various sanitation dumping sites in the metropolis. So this is what we saw from the main lorry station. Within the next couple of days and weeks, the situation might worsen because the Zoomlion is telling us that the dumping site is full, and the Assembly, we are told, have met to address that. As I speak to you now, that has not been addressed yet, and the situation would, move from bad to worse in the next couple of days and weeks.
Thank you so much, Anas, for that update. Now, more than 1,000 residents in Nungwa and its environs have benefited from a free health screening exercise by low-country healthcare volunteers based in the U.S. These residents had for a while deferred visits to hospitals due to financial constraints. There's more in the following report. Well, we'll come back to this story, but we have on the line Dr. Patrick Yadom, who is a member of the Parliament's member of the Parliament's Health Committee, deputy ranking, I understand. We're grateful for your time, sir. And we get back to what's happening in the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Sir, are you in Tamale as we speak?
Exactly so.
And what has been your interaction so far since you got there?
Well, let me extend a warm greetings to your staff, your cherished listeners, and to tell you that they are yet to move the hotel to the hospital. They are on a call by the health committee to visit the regional hospital in the north. We started yesterday for August. We ended the day at the medical center in Tolerable. They would go back to Calgary. They are very this morning. So all that is new.
So I'm having difficulty hearing you. If you could reposition yourself so that we can hear you clearly.
No problem. Is it better now?
Yeah, much better than the first. So you were saying?
I was saying we returned from Nalego last night to pass the night in Tamale. We are on our way to TTH to acquaint ourselves to get first-hand information about happenings in the hospital.
But I understand, I mean, if I'm correct, you must have heard that the doctors didn't show up this morning. They've also suspended emergency and outpatient services at the hospital. And as we speak, there are patients at the hospital waiting to be served, but no doctor to serve them. What do you make of the situation currently? As I tell you, since you're the deputy ranking on Parliament's Health Committee, what do you make of what's happening?
Good. I'm sure you followed happenings at the hospital a couple of days ago, where the minister confronted the CEO, some management members, and some specialists in the hospital. And what ensued was a letter sacking the CEO. I'm sure this action by the staff of the hospital is in response to what happened. We are yet, like I said, we are yet to go there to acquaint ourselves with happening there. And then I'm sure first and foremost to calm the tension and also to get the workers back together. But when we listen to what is in the media space, I think the minister did not act in good faith. His conduct was reprehensible and is a bad precedent. You don't reprimand a doctor in public. It is never done anywhere. You don't sack a CEO on mere allegations of negligence. If anything like that happens in the hospital, that incident is taken through a process which will be initiated by the board, and the board will come out with findings and inform the minister. You don't come based on hearsay and then conclude and write a letter sacking a CEO of a teaching hospital. So we had already planned our regional call. We started yesterday at Bongatanga Regional Hospital in the morning. We ended at Nanaregu at the Baptist Medical Center, and then we drove back to Tamale Teaching the night. So we are going to see today. We'll go to Wa Regional Hospital tomorrow. So we will first abreast ourselves with happenings in the hospital, and then try to ensure that peace prevails when the workers get back to work. Then we'll come to talk about the substantive issues.
Right. Okay, but for where you've been to already, what did you acquaint yourself with?
Well, basically about the operations of the hospital, what they are doing right, where they are challenges, what is impeding them in the provision of optimal care to the people of Ghana, and how best we can know their issues so that when we get back to Accra and meet the needs, we'll be able to advocate for them and then help them. That is, as a sense, Accra, we know it all. We have to see some of the challenges are, and then what solve it. And the most important thing is to also bend this work for one year and also to encourage them to work harder. I think with this approach, we'll get somewhere.
But you've been to a couple of hospitals. How will you describe the state of health facilities in the country, or perhaps where you've been? How would you describe it?
So far, the two facilities we've visited, the hospitals are in good shape, but I can't say all is well. Workers are committed. They assured us of their continued support and hard work. They need more staff. They need some equipment, and they need some motivation. They are overworking, and I think something must be done in this direction. More staff, more equipment, and then more motivation.
Well, where do you plan to stop next after Tamale? Which other hospitals are you visiting? And will this be all over the country?
Yes, but it's a nationwide call. But you can't do all 21 in hospitals and regional hospitals in total at a go. So we divided the country into 3 zones and divided the committee members into 3. A team is in charge of the 4 regions in the north. That's my team. We are dealing with Upper East region, Upper West region, Northern region, and Northeast region. The rest are dealing with the middle zone and the coastal. So by the end of the tour, would have called all the regional hospitals and all the teaching hospitals. Then we will come to present the report to Parliament and also meet the health system over our findings. So from here, from PPH, we'll get to the central hospital, which is the Northern Regional Hospital. And then tomorrow we'll visit the Wide Regional Hospital.
Well, have there been any attempts or any plans to speak to the Minister of Health on the current happenings at the Tamale Teaching Hospital?
Yeah, like I said, we first have to hear from the hospital.
All right.
So, in conflict resolution, we use dialogue as a tool. So we first have to go and acquaint ourselves with the happening, talk to the staff to come back to work, and then based on what we hear, what we gather, it will direct our approach to meeting the minister and to see the way forward. But what the minister's conduct is condemnable, reprehensible, and is a bad system. He has no authority to unilaterally sack a CEO of the teaching hospital, and it's an indictment to the health profession.
Right. Grateful for your time, Patrick Boache Yadome, Deputy Ranking on the Committee of Health in Parliament. Now we go back to a previous story about residents in Nungua and its environs benefiting from a free health screening exercise by Low Country Healthcare volunteers based in the U.S. And the residents had for a while now deferred to visit hospitals due to financial constraints. There's more in the following report.
4-day health mission outreach by Low Country Healthcare volunteers was in 2 parts: free health screening and donation of undisclosed sum of money, hygiene products, books, among other items to Presby Basic School at Nungua. A team of 40 doctors and volunteers took care of patients with various conditions from hypertension to poor sight. Estimated 1,500 people showed up in the course of the 4 days to seek free care. As some say, this would have cost them at the health facilities.
I came with lots of problems, so they were like, they'll take good care of me. So they took me to labs and other stuff, After that, then they gave me medicine, so I'm okay now.
Benona me choni amefanyanyo inu hikra ni efemina kwe yake gbeke mi no nyemi wie ni mi twakashi e wan he boni manu he wa akashi afanyanyo ni nke na nyoko na nwolo mi pu akashi o se sani gana biye me ni fanyanyo ameka se ni biye ni e ya hin eto boni afanyanyo yake na afanyanyo enkitanton ni inu benimana no afanta o han na mi she na me gbina me ha me chufa
o se dro mo ma me nra se me fa binuma ho se ye adwuma kama enti e da de eye de om ye de eye pa nya me hira o mo so de odi o mo nim a wodi o mo ba ye no nya me hira no pa se waboa Ghana man pa nya me hira no pa.
President of Low Country Healthcare Volunteers in the U.S., Dr. Mark Clayton, who is an oral and maxillofacial surgeon, shares his observation.
I don't think I've seen many oral lesions with patients with decay, tooth pain, toothaches, things like that. We do what we can. Some teeth we can't remove because we don't have the equipment. Some restorations we can't do because we don't have the equipment. But we're able to do cleanings back there and remove some teeth. I don't see a lot of poor oral hygiene. Most of them have good oral hygiene, one or two, but not this rampant, all their teeth decay. And I don't know if I've seen any severe pulpitis, no cellulitis, and no abscesses since I've been here.
Meanwhile, Executive Director of Low Country Healthcare Volunteers, Dorothy Akosua-Diaba, is urging Ghanaians abroad to give back to their homeland.
We want to plead to the Ghanaians living outside that when they get there and they do well, they should come back to their homeland to help, because it is not one person's job. These doctors are not from Ghana. Yes, they are not from Ghana. They don't know anyone in Ghana, but it is just the love and care they have for our country. So we want to say that all Ghanaians who are living abroad and they have been able to make it over there, they should come back to the country to help.
The health screening was done in partnership with Presbyterian Medical Center, with Dr. Henry Annan leading his team. One of the dentists, Dr. Samuel Bokwe, who is a member of the board of Low Country Healthcare Volunteers in the US, was born and bred in Ngwa. He was excited over the impact both last year and this year.
Still on health, the Nigerian couple in Wa has completed a hat-trick of multiple bets, adding a set of quadruplets to their stock. Bashiru and Hawa already have a set of twins and triplets, plus 3 other single bets. This new set of quadruplets is said to be the first naturally conceived at the Wa Municipal Hospital and the region at large. Rafiq Salam reports.
Before Hawa Bashiru delivered the quadruplets, she already had 8 children with her husband Basiru Adamu, 3 single deliveries, 1 set of twins, and a set of triplets. The highly fertile Nigerian woman, who is of Zabarama extraction and based in Wa, weighs 84 kilos and a height of 5 feet 9.7 inches. Her husband Bashir migrated to Wa from Niger some 18 years ago in search of a better life.
We are told by doctors that it is extremely rare to have natural conceived quadruplets, but it happened in this hospital, the first since the establishment of this facility in 1954.
We have a twin gestation in one in 80 beds. Now, for you to have a triplet is 1 in 8 raised to the power 2, the square of that value. Okay. Now, to have a quadruplet is 1 in 80 raised to the power 3.
The couple are proud to be parents to the 3 boys and 1 girl. They are Adamu, Hassan, Hussein, and Hawa.
I have nothing to say than to thank God for giving me the quadruplets.
The delivery of the quadruplets was something decreed by God, which I am grateful for. I will forever honor and adore him. Hawa was rushed to the maternity ward of the Wa Municipal Hospital late evening of April 15, 2025. An emergency cesarean section was conducted on her at 33 weeks gestation.
Since my practice, bad cases always sneak in at dawn. Always. And that's what happened in this case. She came in, she went into labor, and with the quadruplet, the only means of delivery is always by cesarean section.
Obstetrician gynecologist at the hospital, Dr. Jonathan Suweri, led a team for the cesarean section that also included a medical officer, 1 midwife, 1 nurse anesthetics, 2 scrub nurses, and blood bank personnel. Dr. Jonathan Suweri considered that it was a difficult task, but they came out unscarfed.
So we had an able team available. Our theater team were up and going, and kudos to our blood bank. They were able to get us blood available. The uterus became flabby after delivery. When it was flabby, the woman was bleeding. So after delivery, she was just pouring torrentially. That's a torrential, a lot of blood. So quickly we started to say the best option for her at that moment was to do a hysterectomy for her. So we just did a hysterectomy. The blood bank was able on call to supply the blood. So in all, I think she received 2 units of blood after the case.
Howard was then moved to the recovery room after the cesarean section and monitored by critical nurses at the recovery room.
We managed her here for like 8 hours. When she was fully recovered, she started SIPS. Then we realized that she was hemodynamically stable and was ready for the ward. So we dispatched her to the ward.
The unemployed woman from Niamey is a mother of first. The first to have natural conceived quadruplets in her family. The first to have continuous sets of twins, triplets, and quadruplets. And the first to deliver quadruplets at the One Municipal Hospital.
The delivery strategy for Madam Hawa is 1-1-2-1-3-4, which means that she gave first a single child, second a single child, third twin, fourth a single child, fifth triplets, and then also the sixth one that we are celebrating today as quadruplets.
She was discharged by the hospital last Sunday. Part of her medical bills was absorbed by the hospital.
I think the hospital, we are able to do our best. We're able to try and give her some.
And what a beautiful story that is. It's a good time to take a break. We'll return with business.
Now time for business here on Newsdesk. My name is Winston Taki, and our first business story. Finance Minister Dr. Kessel Atuforsen has maintained that increasing utility tariffs should not be seen as a solution to dealing with funding challenges facing the sector. The Finance Minister said this during a World Bank meeting on Ghana's Energy Compact program. George Biafe has the rest of the story.
Speaking at the World Bank engagement, the Finance Minister, Dr. Atuforsen, noted that looking at the current challenges facing the energy sector, we should not see tariff increase as the way to go to deal with the funding challenges facing the sector. The Finance Minister's comments are coming at a time that tariffs should be going up every quarter in line with the conditions under the IMF program. However, the Deputy Minister of Energy has revealed to Joy Business that government is working to deal with those variables that lead to tariffs going up significantly in every quarter of the year. According to the Minister of Finance, Dr. Atuforsen, the country needs about $2 billion every year to deal with this funding challenge facing the sector. He added that the Electricity Company of Ghana should also look at dealing with those internal challenges to help address the problem. The Finance Minister argued that it was for this reason that is why Cabinet has approved private sector participation in the power distribution sector as part of government efforts to deal with this challenge facing the energy sector.
Now, away from that, senior country partner at Deloitte Ghana, Daniel Kojo-Owusu, has called for a strategic and deliberate effort to reduce the importation of certain food items into the country. He emphasized the need for a strong governmental commitment to fully implement existing agricultural policies. According to him, such measures would help lower food inflation and generate employment opportunities for Ghanaians. He made the remarks during the launch of the 2025 CEO Summit in Accra.
The CEO Summit is one of Ghana's key business forums, providing a platform for dialogue between the private sector and government. Speaking at the launch, senior country partner at Deloitte Ghana, Daniel Kojo-Owusu, highlighted the urgent need to reduce the importation of food items that Ghana has the capacity to produce.
I think it's one, it has to start with the mindset of all of us agreeing and understanding that that is not the way to go. We need to first decide to produce what we eat. Now, that will mean setting a time frame. That will mean that the government also shifting and providing support. That will mean that being practical and being deliberate that this is what we want to produce. For example, tomatoes. And we'll say, okay, we'll support farmers with this. Within the next 2-3 years, we are cutting importation of tomatoes by half, or by 75%, or by 100%, and there has to be a plan. And if we leave the private sector, sometimes they will try, but when they meet challenges, and then they slip away. And these are the big hits that are happening to us. when we go on our dining tables, rice appear to be the most stable food that everyone eats. Why are we not able to produce it? Does it mean that our lands are not fertile for that? I'm not an agriculturalist, I don't know, but I'm saying that we need to be considering that, and we need to be producing that kind of items that we, so that we would reduce our import bill.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana CEO Network, Ernest Ijo, emphasized the transformative potential of strong leadership across all sectors.
The call for courageous, innovative, and forward-thinking leadership has never been louder. The summit aims to convene Ghana's top business minds and public leaders to define strategies that will reset, renew, and reposition Ghana's economy for the future. And I'm honored to announce that the special guest of honor for this year's summit will be none other than the President of the Republic of Ghana, President John Mahama. His presence underlines the summit's significance as a national platform for dialogue between the public and private sectors. The Ghana CEO Summit is an annual thought leadership and business networking forum that brings together CEOs, heads of states, policymakers, and investors from across Ghana and the West African sub-region.
This year's summit is under the theme Reigniting Growth, Bold Decisions, Smart Actions, and Strong Leadership.
Yeah, so that's all for business. My name is Winston Takam. Mamis, it appears the CEO Summit is something CEOs are looking forward to.
I know, and it's interesting that this year promises to be bigger, right?
Absolutely.
And so let's look forward to see whether there will be some, changes, positive ones, of course, that will turn around the economy. Let's see how it goes.
Absolutely.
But this is where we draw the curtain on a news desk this morning. I am Amisi Nyamiche Thompson. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Thanks for your company. I will sign out from here.